The last question. I know the meaning of the word Reconquista. I know. So do you mean your purpose is to do exactly what the Spanish did in Spain and expelled the Muslims? That's what you mean? Or you want a crusade? So what's your point with Reconquista?
Okay. On the point of the Reconquista, firstly, as an actual 800-year event, set of events, it is inspiring to see what God will do for his church and his people. Absolutely inspiring, because they were down to nothing, just a few mountainous areas, and they came back and took the whole country again. And any Spanish patriot cannot feel it, but his heart warmed at that. However, the Muslims are no longer a force in the world. The fact that they can blow up bombs here and there, knife people to death here and there, do outrageous things to children all over the world, that is not really of grave importance to me, because their day has gone. They like to think it hasn't, but anybody with any sense, the Chinese communists have risen, and they've got them under control in China. They're not a threat to them anymore. But the communists have risen, the Hindus in India have risen, the Muslims have not risen anywhere. They have no armies of any significance, they have no culture of any significance, they have no economies of any significance. They're a busted flush, as we say in England. What matters now, the Reconquista, has to be against the atheists, who are basically...
Not against the Muslims.
No, because if we direct it against...
They are outnumbering Europeans
in numbers they are. That's
so
true.
This is some sort of conquering, isn't it?
Well, some would say that, but here's what I think about it.
So do you mean in this sense or no?
I was born in England when there were no more than about 20,000 Muslims here. 20,000 Muslims in a population of no more of about 50 million. All the Muslims are here through mass immigration. But when I was born, England still had its problems. The fundamental problems of England, Scotland and Wales, are nothing to do with Islam. If England solved its problems, then Islam would be a problem that would be solved separately, because they would come round to the faith. In Spain, before the Great Conquest, as it was going on under King Ferdinand III, huge numbers of Muslims converted as they saw the Catholic faith was true. Because this was before Ferdinand and Isabella said, look, you convert or you leave Spain. This is before that, they had a choice, and they converted to Catholicism because they saw its power. So what will happen? The reason Muslims are not converting in large numbers today in the West is because the West is not a Christian West anymore, not a Catholic West. So we have to get our own house in order, and none of the problems we have is due to Muslims, none of them. Oh yeah, barriers around central London, checks at airports, that's due to Muslims, yeah. That's marginal to our real problems. The Muslims aren't stopping Western European men and women having children, having families. They're not causing them to fornicate in discos and nightclubs, not causing them not to get married, not causing them to divorce, not causing them to have one child maybe, to have abortions. That's not the Muslims doing that. They're not forcing us to do anything like this. So the problems are really us. So there we come to it, the atheism of in its various forms, Marxist partly, but also liberal as well. You know, the 19th century English liberals could be said, I'm talking a moment, the 19th century English liberals could be said to be wonderful. I have a great thing about 19th century English liberalism, but it was in a Christian context. When you take it out of its context, you see the damaging force it is. So we can say how all these things, I will, don't worry, I will get to you. What we see is the things that dominate our culture now, the media are not Islam, and the arts not Islam. These things have caused the English to go downhill, and it is getting them out of the way that the British can come back. And I think there'll be a mass conversion of Muslims. I believe that's in prophecy anyway, Catholic prophecy. But even if it wasn't the case, the British themselves would become a new people, and there would be a new nation built again. This would be something wondrous to see all over the West, and it would be great to bring the Muslims here, because in the Muslim lands you can't convert them. Large numbers of Muslims convert here that wouldn't convert in the Muslim lands, so we must remember that. They're not the key threat, but I know what you're getting at. If things were to just go on and on and on...
Because the word relates to what happened historically. Reconquista was exactly that.
Yeah,
so that's what
yeah, this is a reconquest of Catholic England, because it was Catholic for 1,000 years. The reconquest of Catholic Europe. The entire West is Catholic. Even America which was built upon these Freemasonic or like Enlightenment principles. These are people who came from England and Scotland and Wales, and that they come from a Catholic civilization. So the whole Western world is Catholic fundamentally, and so it's a reconquest of our civilization, and it's got nothing to do with foreign religions. It would if there was a Spanish situation again, like there was in the Middle Ages. Yes, it would be a reconquest. It could be Muslims, it could be Hindus, whoever, but that's not the point of it today. So I call it reconquest of against the enemies that we have today, not the ones we had when Spain was conquered by Islam.
Okay. Got it.